This next set of videos is all about carbon compounds and the molecules that make up living things. So it's everything from DNA to how you process the food you eat and what your food is made of, all the way to how do you use these compounds in the formation of memories, and all the aspects of who you are stem from carbon compounds. So why carbon? Carbon has 4 valence electrons, meaning that it can make 4 bonds with other atoms. That can be a carbon-to-carbon bond, it could be carbon to hydrogen, carbon to oxygen, or nitrogen, or sulfur, or phosphorus. But carbon can make 4 different bonds. Carbon-to-carbon bonds can be single, double, or triple. That's a fairly unique property that carbon has. Its ability to form these different types of bonds makes it the most versatile element in terms of living things. Carbon can even make rings, which make up things, we're going to dive into this more later, but can make up sugars and other things that you break down. No other element even comes close to matching carbon's versatility. And we have a special word for science or chemistry that is the study of compounds that contain carbon. That's called organic. So if you hear the word organic in the context of a biology class or a biochemistry class, that's referring specifically to carbon containing. It doesn't mean non-GMO or raised without any like growth hormone or no fertilizer added. Organic in this context simply means it contains the element carbon. Carbon can bond with many elements that include but are not limited to hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, and nitrogen. All of those things together make up all the molecules of life. Some carbon compounds for you: methane, acetylene, butadiene, benzene, and isooctane. This is just kind of showing you some of the various shapes of a carbon compound. So you'll see here that this carbon compound, methane, which is gas, like bodily gas, has all single bonds. Acetylene has a triple bond holding those carbons together. Butadiene means that it has 2 double bonds. And then benzene, that's a very unique ring. A benzene ring has tons of functions in biological systems. And then isooctane, that's just another structure where carbon is bonding to carbon and it has hydrogens everywhere it doesn't have a carbon. So we move on from carbon to macromolecules. So the definition of a macromolecule is a large molecule that is created by polymerization of smaller subunits. So to understand that definition, you need to understand the word polymerization. Polymerization is the process by which you take large compounds, or you take small compounds and build them up into a large compound. So think about a puzzle. If you're building a puzzle or putting together a puzzle, you take lots of little individual pieces, put them together and make one giant picture. That's polymerization. That process of putting it all together is polymerization. And polymerization starts with a monomer, which is the smallest subunit, and ends with a polymer, and that's the result of many joined monomers. So when you make a macromolecule, it can either be like a colorful necklace where all the beads have the similar function or similar shape, but they have different colors, or they can be identical, repeating subunits. So macromolecules aren't necessarily identical subunits, but similar, which you'll kind of understand that more here in a little bit. And that's what I was just saying, is that they can be identical or different from each other. And there are 4 major groups of macromolecules: carbohydrates, lipids, nucleic acids, and proteins. We're going to spend most of our time here in this first go around with biochemistry, talking about carbs, lipids, and proteins. Nucleic acids will really drive that point home when we talk about cellular energy and when we talk about DNA and RNA later in the year.